Hey, I'm Rich. This is George, owners of the Switch Vape out here in San Antonio, Texas. We just wanted to welcome everybody to the Switch Vape and just let you know that we are putting together a Vape 101 tutorial, just to kind of familiarize everybody who's brand new to vaping, or maybe you want to get into vaping, you don't know what vape is, just all the different pieces, parts, and components of what vaping actually is.
Okay, so welcome to Vape 101. One of the things that we really need to understand is that vape itself comes into different parts, pieces, components, different sizes, shapes, always to meet the need of the user at the end. However, they all have one thing in common, and that is they all require a power source. A common power source for the vape is what we typically call an 18650 battery. This 18650 battery resembles what most of us would look like as a AA battery. However, though, unlike a AA battery, this battery is capable of producing 20 amps continuous discharge, and it's rated at 3000 mAh. MAh meaning milliamps per hour. Basically think of mAh, milliamps per hour, as a gas tank in your car. The higher the rating of the mAh of the battery, the more charge it can hold, the longer it's going to last. Now, what we had just looked at was an 18650 battery, which is what we have, which is called an external battery. Then we have devices that have internal batteries like this one right here, meaning there is nowhere to put this battery. The battery itself is actually built into this device itself. There's some advantages and disadvantages of having an external or internal battery. An advantage of having an internal battery is you never really have to worry about, where's your battery? Is it on the charger? Everything's already built in. Typically, all you have to do is just plug it in somewhere. It's going to charge on its own. It's going to do its thing. This is great for small devices like this. However, though, I don't always recommend it if you're like the person that's going to be a heavy user. You see yourself vaping a lot. A lot of times what you find yourself doing is you find yourself stuck next to a wall outlet somewhere, constantly charging your vape, trying to keep it charged, especially if you're like hanging out with the neighbors, you're having a few beers, you're just almost like a crack addict right next to a wall charger trying to get your vape so that you just won't smoke anymore. Now, we covered 18650 batteries, which is a common power source for the mod. This is what we call a mod. The mod is a way to regulate the power going to the tank. Mods come in various shapes and sizes. We talked about this was a single 18650 battery mod. This one is what we call a dual 18650 battery mod. And some companies actually have triple battery mods, quadruple battery mods, and some are even coming out with mods that take up to 5 batteries. The big thing you need to understand is we have a power source, and then we have to have a way to control that power source, which is the mod. Mods come in various shapes and sizes, like I said. Typically, I always, when you're starting to get the mods with external 18650 batteries, the thing I always want to try and look for is one in which you can control the wattage of the device itself. Of vaping, or the last major component of vaping, is the tank. Everything from the battery, which provides power, to the mod, which regulates the power and allows you to adjust the power, is all meant to drive this tank. And the driving component in this tank is the coil. Tanks come in various shapes, sizes, everything like that. But the driving factor always behind any single tank out there is always going to be the coil. The coil is kind of like the engine of the whole thing. If you have a crappy coil, you can have the nicest tank out there, but if you have that crappy coil, your tank's not going to perform very well. It's kind of like having a Lamborghini or a Ferrari with a 4-cylinder engine. Car looks nice, it's great, it has all these bells and whistles, but you just got a crappy engine in there. And then, all right. So the principle of a coil is quite simple. A coil is basically nothing more than a metal casing, and inside that metal casing we have organic cotton, and in the middle of all that organic cotton we have a heating element. The way a coil works is the cotton absorbs the juice and then feeds the juice to the heating element. The heating element heats up, and then when it heats up with that juice, that's what creates your vapor. From there, we need to understand that coils are usually screwed into what we call a base. Everything has different shapes, sizes, flavors for whatever you're looking for. Some tanks have top airflow, some tanks have bottom airflow. The one we're looking at today is a tank with bottom airflow. And we can tell that by looking at where these bottom airways are right here. So this coil actually screws into the base of the tank, like this. And then remember that little prong down there, that's actually what's making the electrical connection at the bottom of the base. This is the part that screws into your mod. So if you look at this, this is the part that actually screws into your mod. And then that's creating the electrical connection all the way down to your battery, the whole 9 yards. So that's the first thing you need to understand. The next part about all this is when that thing is firing off, you push the button and you start using it, we have what's called a chimney. And this part right here is called the chimney. That's the part where the vapor is going to travel through up to the mouthpiece, and then that's how you're actually inhaling your vapor. A lot of different tanks have a lot of different attributes to them. This particular tank, in order to fill this, you would actually swivel this open, like so, and you would fill it from right there. And you can see this is where the rest of the chimney is. And that is pretty much vape summed up. And then we just kind of put it all back together. We're good to go.
All right, so I really hope that you guys enjoyed our Vape 101 video, kind of putting all the pieces, parts together with a battery to a mod, how a mod works, moving it into a tank. I know we didn't really turn anything on, but the idea of the video was to kind of get you familiar with, just how does vape work, putting it all together, the different terminology with everything, between battery, mod, and tank, coil. And this way, whenever you're shopping around, you're looking, you're not feeling overwhelmed with all the different things that you're seeing out there. And you're able just to kind of put it together, feel a little bit more confident whenever you walk into a vape shop.